Hey there, and welcome to Hot Seat. And we are here to explore the reasons of why. What's the why? What's the purpose? What drives business owners to do what they do? If it's what you're looking for, to get motivated, well, we look forward to sharing this episode with you. I'm your host, Kel Holliday, and I am enjoying the fact that we can explore people's why and motivate others. So stay tuned for this exciting new episode. 15 minutes, fast paced. Let's do it. Well, hey again, folks. Here we are for another hot seat, and we've got a special guest. This is a guy, I've only known him for a short period of time, but super impressive when it comes to sales and actually increasing your bottom line, getting those things across the line. This is a man you'll probably have to talk to, but let's get to know him first. Patrick, come on into the hot seat, buddy.
G'day, Kel. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Mate, it is an absolute pleasure. As I just said to the folks, very short period of time we've known each other, but we just, something just clicked with us when we first met up. So, mate, we're going to get into it. Tell us your story, mate. What's the family situation? Where you live? What got you into doing what you're doing now?
Well, Kel, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, the shortest presentation I usually do is a full day, and I can take 90 minutes to say hello. So I know we don't have that long today. When you say, tell me a story, we've got to kind of rein that in a little bit.
Bring it in, mate. Tell us the family story first. Whereabouts you live?
I am here in North Brisbane in Kedron, Queensland, and I'm literally actually right now I've built a beautiful home office, and I'm back in the family home where I grew up with my mum and dad and my two little sisters, and I know I'm raising my children, my teenage kids, in the house where I grew up as well. So it's a real blessing, a real special experience to be able to do that. We've taken over the big house from mum and dad, and they've moved in next door, so we've got the grandparents right there, and it's wonderful. So I've got identical twin girls, so 16, and my little guy is 14, although my little guy is actually the tallest one in the family right now. He's taller than all of us. He's shooting up. My wife is from Sweden. We met in Stockholm. I was a single guy traveling the world, having a good time. Next thing you know, I met a beautiful Swedish woman and fell in love, and then we had twins, and it was pretty crazy. It was funny because she knew all about Australia from Discovery Channel, right? So it's like deadly animals, beautiful beaches. And she said, get them deadly animals away from me. Where's the beach? And I said, Brisbane, it's a port city. Here's where I grew up. And she said, no, where's the beach? Oh, right. So I took her down to Burleigh Heads, and she said, this is nice. We could live here. So we lived in Burleigh for 5 years while the kids were little. And apparently, we left Sweden to get away from the cold, but apparently Gold Coast wasn't hot enough. So we moved up to Indonesia, and we were up in Bali for 3.5, 4 years as expats when the kids were growing up. And now we've come full circle, and I'm right back in North Brisbane, right where I grew up.
Beautiful. So I've done a bit of traveling around, mate. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, we like to travel around and experience things. So what actually took you over to Indonesia and have some time over there?
Indo was fantastic. So I was working with my business partner at the time was a guy called John Abbott. He runs a company called InSpiral, and we had a client called Roger Hamilton who does Wealth Dynamics. And Roger had just bought Vision Villas Resort, and he was doing trying to fill the resort up, right? So they had this idea to put in adventure sports, and come to Bali, go and do mountain biking on the volcano and scuba diving and do all the fun stuff and stay at the resort. And it wasn't really working the way they wanted. So we looked at it and went, Roger's got a massive global business database. So we said, well, why don't we do some business stuff there? So Roger and John created iLab, which is a 30-day business incubator. And then I worked with John. He was generating all the leads, and I was converting all the sales. So putting people into the program, having those consultative sales conversations. And anyway, ended up developing a team, grew to about 40 people that I recruited, trained, and managed on the sales side. And then John was building his team on the lead gen side. And it was wonderful. Roger was a great client, and then we took on a whole bunch of other clients, so really prominent public figures, people who know their names, are doing amazing retreats and events and workshops and seminars, and these mentors and gurus. So they'd run their they come to Australia, do Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, speak to 200 people in each city, 1,000 people, make their couple of hundred sales, make their $100,000 for the next quarter, and they're all set. And we kind of thought, well, what about the other 80% of the room that didn't buy? Maybe we'd run a campaign to them. And they're all like, well, like if anyone was going to buy on the day, they're going to buy. And, closed everybody. So we ran a campaign to the people who didn't buy and doubled their sales off the back of the event. So that worked really well. A lot of people got really excited about that. But that's what we were doing in Bali, in amongst a lot of mountain biking, like I'm a downhill mountain biker, big jumps and jumping off high cliffs into the water and swimming with the stingrays and just generally having a great time.
Mate, you are absolutely. I can feel the energy coming through the Zoom here at the moment, and yeah, the adventure, the adrenaline stuff, the scuba, all that sort of stuff. I can hear it, and it's very much in that sales process. And you are the ultimate, the magnetic, attractional, adventurous sort of person. So that's a pretty cool. But I guess in business, and I think we actually spoke about this before we got started today, in business, like you're into the sales side of things, and it's such an important part. Most business owners just don't get enough. If you haven't got enough money, you can't survive. All right. But I'm going to ask you a bit of a twist on that. So you get to see a lot of business owners, and there's a lot of stress in business. A lot of entrepreneurs are under stress. So sure. I understand that sales are your thing, but what do you think are the biggest things that people get stressed about in business? And maybe some of the things that you've seen and experienced and maybe help people overcome?
It usually comes down to one of three things, Kel. It's either not enough customers or clients, depending on what you call them. So not enough clients, not enough money or revenue, or not enough time. Right. And that's, all the stresses in the world. And there's 1,000,001 different things to be stressed about in business, and it never goes away. But it usually boils down to one of those. Hey, we need more customers urgently. We need more money, more cash flow, more revenue. And that's cash flow in small businesses. It's more about profitability in medium-sized businesses and just building the balance sheet for the big corporates. But it's always about money, right? And then the leaders, the executive team, the owner, the founder, whoever it is that's running the show, they just don't have enough time. Very often it becomes team issues as well. So if you can look at if you've got employees, you look at your staff and you go, are the team solving problems for me or creating problems for me, right? And if the team is solving problems for you, great. You've got good leadership. You've got good, they're on mission, and that's the point of having staff. But if you feel like your staff, you're working for them as the business owner more than they're working for you, and they're creating more problems than they're solving, then we've got to look at how do we get the team on mission? How do we, look at that purpose and that really get them engaged in what's going on as a higher purpose in the business. But they're the three big things.
Absolutely. And I think it's such a thing that it's actually all three. A lot of people go, oh, just got to get more leads. Got to get more on the lead. And they forget about the conversion. And then they forget about, okay, well, hang on a sec. Now we've got to get repeat customers or we're back to the same loop again. So yeah, I'm seeing that all the time. So tell me, as a salesperson, like you're just a natural person at that, and I can feel it coming out. But what is it that got you? What's your background? Let's get a little bit deeper into Patrick. Where did work life start?
I was 14 years old when I started my first business. It was a local paper run, and it was a wonderful business because I had my friends and family deliver the papers for me, and I paid them a commission, and I took the wage, which was very wonderful. And of course, it was great because at that age, I didn't know anything about taxation. So it was a great business. No one from the ATO listening, I hope, Kel. But since then, so that was 1994 and now 2024. So 30 years. And I counted it up just earlier this year. It's been 150 organizations that I've worked with in sales, marketing, and leadership over that period. So it's literally an average of 5 campaigns a year for 30 years straight.
Wow. That is a big portfolio.
It's a lot.
And that's a lot. But you've stayed true to who you are. And it sounds like even at that, the young paper boy, you've got a paper boy and you've got everybody else to do the work, and you just worked out how to actually get them to work. You're very entrepreneurial. So cool. Very, very nice. And so tell me a little bit about your kids. So what are some of the things that, from your parents' perspective to you and from you, you've said you've got a couple of twins and another boy. So what are the things you've passed on or has been passed on to you from family that you've passed on to your kids that have really helped them out in life, around business or just around life in general?
I went to my first business seminar when I was 17. I'd probably read, I don't know, maybe 100 business books by that time. Started reading, didn't necessarily love school or do great at school, but really, as soon as I started reading sales and marketing and leadership content, I couldn't get enough of it, and got to my first seminar at 17. And that was kind of it for me. I'm like, I want to be the guy on the stage. I want to be in this world. This is who I am. This is where I'm at. So for me, with that very capitalist mindset, but also bringing children into the world, you kind of get a perspective. You go, what kind of a world am I bringing them into? What kind of a world am I building for my kids and their kids and generations to come? And how am I using my business and my skills and my influence as a force for good to build a better world for, my kids and your kids and all of them? So the big thing for me was, using our business as a force for good, but teaching the children, teaching my kids. First thing was personal responsibility. Really just, like, your life is up to you. Your destiny is in your hands. And if things are happening in your life or in your world that you're not happy about, which is hard for kids because they are quite dependent, but at mid-teens, they're all very independent now and working towards becoming interdependent. The Stephen Covey's third level of synergy. So that's been a really core model for us about maturity and what that looks like. I'm not trying to push them into adulthood too fast because I love playing with the kids. I'm still a big kid at heart myself. But really looking at where are they taking responsibility? What are they responsible for? What can they change and what can they control? Which of course is nothing outside themselves. It's everything inside of us. It's our attitude. It's our responses to situations. It's how we treat other people. It's our integrity. It's trust, how we build trust or break trust, has been a big part of the conversation at our place. And then the second big thing has been around communication. So, once you're clear on what's your responsibility and what's someone else's, what's your problem and what's theirs, what's internal and what's external, then how are you communicating that with people? How are you, we had scripts on the back of their doors for when there's a fight or a conflict over, that's my toy, that's my toy. Can we find a solution we're both happy with, right? I'm not a bully, so I'm not going to steal it from you, but I'm not a victim, so I'm not going to let you push me around either. I'm creative. Can we find a solution we're both happy with? You go first. What do you want? Right? And the kids hear this and they roll their eyes because we've just drilled it since they could speak. You go first. What do you want? Right? Which is the consultative sales method. What do you want? What are your goals? What are your challenges? What's happening? And they go, well, I want the toy. Okay, great. Well, if you had that, would you be happy? Oh, absolutely. Fantastic. Well, look, I'd like to have it too. Can we find a solution we're both happy with? Right? Or I want to get paid. I'm happy to deliver that service. Can we negotiate a solution that we're all happy with? And it's all from sales for me and negotiation. But that communication, that scripting has been the biggest thing that I feel I've been able to give to my children that sales and leadership has given to me.
Yeah. And some people will be listening to this and going, oh, Dewey is the ultimate sales guy. But it is so true. Like our lives are a negotiation. Yeah. We have got choices in life and our choices are up to us. We can't sit there and blame others. We've got to navigate this world in unison with millions of other people. We don't always get our own way.
It's our language and our stories that set us apart from the animals. It's why we can have communities of hundreds of thousands and millions of people living together and not tearing each other apart. Whereas in the animal kingdom, we never see more than 20, 30, 50, and in some rare cases up to 100 of a species grouped together. But beyond that, it just doesn't work with the higher, sentient beings. I don't know about bugs and stuff, but with, chimps and stuff. But we can have hundreds of thousands and millions of people because we can tell stories and we can communicate and we can negotiate these things. And I like talking about negotiation because it's not like everything in life is a transactional experience. Like I heard what's his name? I can't remember his name. Saying the other day, he's going, "What's the ROI on your mum?" He's making a point that it's not everything's completely transactional. So like, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to get that. What have I got in return? And we've taught that to kids too. They don't get pocket money for doing chores because then it turns into a transaction. This is a chore, is a privilege that we can all be part of this household, this family. We can work together and support each other. And it's an opportunity for you to give back because here's what I bring and here's what your mum brings and here's what each of you, what we would like you to bring. And we're not going to pay you for that. You can get a job or you can do other things. And there's lots of ways to make money. And we, have the money conversation around the dinner table very often. But being part of a family it's not that kind of a transaction. We do this because we love each other and we want to support each other and we want to be here and we want to see the best for each other. And it's a privilege and an honor for me to have children and have a wife that I'm able to serve at the best of my ability. And I want to impart that to them. I don't do, fatherhood or parenting or husbandry for payment. I do that because it's a privilege and an honor, right?
Absolutely. Look, Patrick, this has been a very fast hot seat, mate. We're just about out of time. So I'm going to come up with that one question I always love to ask, mate. What is your one hot seat, hot tip that you can actually share with people? People get down, they get depressed, business gets hard, different things happen. Mate, what's some inspiration you can share with our listeners today?
If you are a business owner and business isn't all that you want it to be, remember why you got into business. What was the reason you started this? There was reasons for you internally, the things that you wanted out of it, for your lifestyle and your, wealth and time and freedom and control and status and whatever it was that you wanted, or service and contribution, whatever it was that was driving you for you. And what was your reasons for them, for your audience, for your clients, for your customers? Like, what was the difference that you wanted to make in your life and their life? And then if you're not making that difference, know that, you're not the only one. A lot of businesses really struggle to have the effect that they wanted to have, that they set out to have. And at every stage of business, there's a next level. So in the winning formula at one level becomes a losing formula at the next level. So every time you want to go to the next level, and every business owner I talk to, we're going to go to the next level. I go, great, what level are you at? And they go, what are you talking about? But that'll be a conversation for another day. But when you want to go to the next level, just know the rules of the games change completely. The language change. It's like soccer and basketball. Soccer, you got to kick the ball and not pick it up. Basketball, you pick it up and don't kick it. That's what it's like at the next level. Everything's on its head, and you've got to, and you can't learn that through experience. You can only learn it through education. So find someone who's been there, who's done that, who understands the rules of the game at the level that you want to play at, and then learn those rules, and then you'll be able to play at that level.
I'm getting tingles. I'm getting tingles, Patrick. We are definitely going to have you back here and do a hot seat, and we're going to move it into a tool time. We're going to get you back, do a masterclass, all about how do we actually get those people to go to those next levels and really start thinking differently. So folks, stay tuned for that. I'm sure that Patrick, you'd love to come back and actually do a tool time with us.
That'd be great, Kel. I'd love to share the game changer growth formula, because business growth isn't an accident. And with the amount of experience I've had with so many campaigns, it's an average of 5 campaigns for 30 years straight in sales, marketing, leadership that I've been involved in. You very quickly get to see what are the key ingredients that have to be present for this to work, and what else is just noise. And so the formula goes, here are the key things that actually shift the needle on business revenue, and then everything else you can kind of ignore it. And then we've got a checklist, which is the diagnostic of how to go through each of those things and what they need to look like, in a particular business's case. So I'd love to share that with you and the audience. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Mate, that sounds absolutely epic. So folks, we've had Patrick here. Thank you very much for coming along, buddy.
Such a pleasure, Kel. Thanks so much.
Mate, that is another wrap for a hot seat here this week. We look forward to seeing Patrick and you back sometime into the future. Have a good one, folks.
Thanks for joining us here at Hot Seat. It's been an amazing, amazing event. It is a place where you can actually enjoy and be inspired by the why of others, the drive of the purpose and the passion. Please like and share this podcast with as many people as you can to inspire them to make a difference in this world. Have an awesome day. Unleash.